Our video for the Maju forest hike is now live on Instagram. Let us take a look. The video of this spot is
Does it input audio?
okay.
Then basically I think
It gets worse. Okay, let's start the real way so you can see the line. So I think it shows like this. The in front is going to be waterlogged, so this is what correct. It's a very pretty much. It's always a bit harder. It's a bit simple. Okay, let's do it easier for us. This doesn't make then from then on it's over here. Then instead of walking on mud, you suggesting that gosh. Question marks. So you wanted this view to come up from that side, so be careful. There you go, not so hard, right? If you know the right way to go, if you know the right way to dash through, it's not so hard. Redo all this spot, please. Yep, like Alfie says, this is a very kind of organic kind of edit for our Maju forest hike. What I intended for this video to be is just more of the experience, right? If you are hiking through the Maju forest from Sunset Way to Rail Corridor, this is what you actually encounter. So it's more like a documentary style kind of video, not so much the feel or what, but yeah, it has the kind of a nice organic nature kind of feel, which is interesting. Couple observations. I find maybe the video could have done with some color grading, some color adjustment. The whole feel of the video looks a bit too greenish, a bit too muddy. Everything's all brown and all that. So it's somewhat unattractive. Maybe you could have done some color adjustment. But then again, this is a nature video, so maybe we should show things in its original form without getting too much adjustment. Even though things look a bit like poop, that horrible brown color. So you can see that we use a front-facing camera as well as a back-facing camera. There are some shots where I show the side view because the side view is more interesting than the back view. The whole section is sped out at by 50%. So it's the actual speed is 150%. That's why things move a bit faster. I'm trying to fit everything into 90 seconds of music. And also anything exceeding 90 seconds will be too boring anyway. So that's why I sped up the video for most parts by 50%. Only part I didn't speed up is the end. So the end is it's okay. It's not so critical. If we have viewers falling off the end, that's all right. That's why most of the video is sped up by 50%, except for the very end. Yep. So let me talk about how I created this video in Final Cut Pro. It's a continuation of my last live stream. If you're interested about getting the Final Cut Pro files for this project, you can get it through my YouTube link. If you head over to my YouTube channel, which is here, when you look at the video, let's say you're looking at the video shot, right? So this is the Maju Forest Hike. This is the same version, except that it appears on YouTube. There is a link here to the raw video, right? If we click on this link and go to that link, we can see that it's pointing to my Google Drive that contains all the source files as well as the FIT file from Garmin Connect. Yeah, so if you ever need to know what latitude longitude, you can use the FIT file. If you want the Final Cut Pro project, just go into the Final Cut Pro folder. The project is here, library.fcp bundle. The funny thing about Final Cut Pro is that on macOS, it stores it as a folder. That's why it appears as a folder with a lot of stuff inside. kind of messy. That's why I also added in a zip file, which is a zip version of library.fcp. So if you ever have trouble downloading this whole folder, just go ahead and download library.zip, then unzip it, and you will get the same folder back. And that might be more convenient for editing in Final Cut Pro. The Reel.m4v is the video that you saw earlier on. This is the video that I published onto
Is it input audio?
Instagram, onto YouTube Shorts, as well as TikTok and RedNote. You can download the video here if you want, in case you want to use it for any of your videos. Then long.mp4, this is the okay. Let's skip this. This is the long form, the 360-degree view, the rectangular format that was uploaded to YouTube. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see that there's a video called 360-degree video for Maju Forest Hike. You play this video, you'll see this, right?
Is it
This whole video here is coming from here, long.mp4, right? So this is a very long rectangular format of the entire hike. There. So in short, if you need to download the Final Cut Pro files from my project, go to My Videos. There is a link to the raw video. Click onto raw video, then go into the Final Cut Pro folder, and then you see a library.zip. Download the library.zip, unzip it, and then you see a library file for library folder for Final Cut Pro. You can use that to edit with Final Cut Pro, and then you can see how I edited the video. If you need the source files, the 360-degree files, they're all here. Maju Forest, date timestamp. So they're about kind of them. Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about how I edited them. Heading over to Final Cut Pro. Now, the plan was that we kind of executed the plan as we mentioned last video pretty much faithfully. We didn't make a lot of changes. The original plan was that we'll have an original Sunset Way section followed by tunnel. Tunnel has got a tunnel beginning and tunnel end and a cross dissolve between them. Then we have a section near the end for the rail corridor. Then followed by the actual rail corridor, the ending shot, right? Things that I changed was that so notice that everything now is in one huge compound clip. In Premiere Pro they call this a sequence. In Final Cut Pro we call this a compound clip. So previously was a lot of individual clips. I right click, I selected all of them, then right click new compound clip, and that's how I got this. Inside our compound clip, okay, so one thing special about this compound clip is that I applied the speed up here. If you go into the retime editor, you can see that this has been sped up 150%, right? Same thing here. Sorry, over here, you see the show retime editor. It tells you that also this section has been sped up 150%. So the Sunset Way section in the beginning was sped up 150%. The end was also sped up 150%, was set to 150%, sped up by 50%. What did we speed up? Let's go inside, double click, and we see that these are the clips. The last time we talked, we did only the first two clips, right? These A and B, and then we introduced a split screen that we dropped, the A and B clips in here, right? Now, this looks a bit weird, right? We created the A and B clips, and then we superimpose a split screen on top. So by right, we're not even showing the A and B clips, but that's okay. I mean, it's a visual reference for us to know that this split screen has got this A on top and this B at the bottom, right? Technically, we should have selected everything here and just say right click disable. The reason for doing that is that I think the sound from the video, the voices are coming back twice. Once from here and once from there. So it's actually overlaying my all the speech twice, which might be a bit annoying. Yeah. So technically, once we have created the A and B clips and we've dragged them into our split screen, we do not need to put them in the timeline anymore. You can just go ahead and disable them. Yeah. Yeah, but I forgot to do that. We'll do it next time. So it was pretty dull night for me. I just drag and drop all the clips here. I've carefully selected 5 seconds from each clip. So Sunset Way, I'll look for a 5 second section, drag it into timeline, resize it to exactly 5 seconds, then I copy and paste it to give the same video. So we're using the same video for A and B because we want the same time frame. As we are walking through the forest, we want it to show the exact view from front and back at the precise same time. That's why they are exactly the same clips. We do not adjust the clips after dragging, but we do adjust the framing. The things that we changed are the framing, like for example the tilt, pan, and roll, and a field of view. We did slightly settings for this because to accomplish the back view, we need to do a pan all the way behind, right? The field of view for the back view is slightly increased because we want to see more wrap around. We want to see more of the scenery for the back view. So less scenery in front, more scenery behind. That's why the field of view for the back is 163. The field of view for the front view is normally 150. Right? Yeah. So originally there wasn't A and B. I just dragged the clips here. Okay. Copy and pasted, then drag a whole bunch of clips. So I did, batch mode. 5 second, 5 second, 5 second, all the way through, right? Then I just fortunately Final Cut Pro has a nice way to copy and paste the attributes. So these things here, like sorry, we talked earlier on about the orientation, all that. These are attributes that can be pasted. So just simply, copy from one of the clip, just edit, copy. Then I can select any of my clips. Then I can do an edit and paste attributes. In fact, what I did was I selected a whole range of clips, and then I just selected edit, paste attribute. So that was a quick way to propagate all my attributes throughout the videos. Then I have to go into each one of them and do some fine tuning. So the attributes are different from the A videos versus the B videos. So I had to copy from A, paste onto A, copy from B, paste onto B. Yeah. These were originally clips, but split screen requires us to use compound clips. In Premiere Pro, we call it a sequence, right? So that's why then I went through each one of them, right click, new compound clip. And that's how I created A and B. So this A contains this clip as a compound clip, right? With all the framing all done nicely. Then I did the same thing for the B, right click, new compound clip that has got the framing inside. Then I added in the split screen, just drag it from our project and then add it into the drop zones. So I just went in there and just simply drag and drop all the drop zones for all the split screens. Yeah, that's how I created this. It was pretty boring, pretty dull, but yeah, that's what I did. Now you notice that okay, so some parts of the audio I noticed were a bit noisy. I had to do some noise reduction. Okay, I'm trying to figure out which clip. Maybe it's this one. Let me see. So the way to do noise reduction in Final Cut Pro is that there's this icon, there's this thing here. There's this noise removal. So it's not this clip. Maybe it's the next one. Okay, where was I? Let me check. This clip? Nope. I'm looking for the clip that has the noise reduction applied. Nope, not this one. Next one. Nope. Next one. Okay, one last one. I think it's the next one. Yeah, there you go. Oops. Okay, you see it here. I applied noise removal because this clip was too noisy. There was some background noise. I'm not sure what, but I had to remove the noise. We wanted to show, we wanted to hear the nature sounds as well as the my speaking. Well, yeah. So there were actually birds and there were chickens in the video. But the piece of music that I selected for YouTube Reel, Nora Ampior's Polynesia, also has some birds and stuff. So it kind of blended quite nicely. Yeah. Very tropical kind of feel, very, nature, tropical, organic kind of feel for a trek through a forest. Yeah, let's see. There are some the videos, some sections that I framed it specially. So for example, okay, so this is a sunset way portion in front. I did the same thing for rear corridor. So again, it was a lot of boring work. Some of the parts are a bit different for this. So for example, the framing here. So we can see here that uh, this clip on top, we can see that Alfie is climbing over the log. If we use the default framing, my default framing is normally 25% tilt and field of view is 150. Yeah. So notice I tilted a bit lower, 16%. That's so that we can see Alfie climbing over the log. Yeah, otherwise, we just see more of the scenery. So there are some things that I changed in the framing to make it stand out. For example, this scene here, again, I changed the framing so that we can see that there are two paths, either the lower path or the upper path. And then in the video, I was saying, do we take the lower path or the upper path? And we can see that the field of view normally is 150, we tune it to 165, so we can see both paths. So there is some intention done in the editing of the video so that we can see precisely what story we're trying to tell. There are some important parts of this trail that we need people to be aware of. And I made that quite obvious in this video. Same thing with this clip. There's a lot of mud. So again, I increase the field of view so you can see more of the mud. Then I change the framing behind so that we can see Alfie. Otherwise, it's just bushes. Yeah, again, more mud, right? So for info, let me see. Let me recall. So this place was very muddy that we were deciding whether to go straight through the muddy path. But fortunately, there was another uphill path on the right side, which was less muddy. So we actually climbed up the right hill, the right side. It was a bit tricky. There were some steps, but we made it up. Then as we made it up, then we came to this interesting part where we had to come down the hill. Then we had to go over to the track. Yeah. Fortunately, it wasn't that bad. The mud over, even though it looks messy, there were some logs in there that we stepped on. And this part here on the right is actually dry. It's dry mud. So I was able to step in on the log, step into the mud, then walk to walk along the railway line. It was pretty straightforward. Yeah, so I'm glad that the two of us we made it up without too much mud on our shoes. Very fortunate for us. The framing that we did for so this is the part where we walked along the railway line to the Maju forest to the rail corridor. The framing was changed. Yeah, instead of showing back, I showed the side view. Right, that's why it looks different. And besides, the side view is more interesting than the back view. But later on, I switched back to the back view so I can see Alfie behind. Yeah. Yeah, so there was a lot of reframing going on in this video. We had to make a lot of tweaks. Other things that we did, the tunnel beginning and tunnel end also had some changes. What I wanted to do was to feature more of the tunnel before entering a tunnel, before it gets dark. And to do that, I had to do some speed up. If you look at the speed up here, just click the speed up icon and show real-time editor. This was sped up by 150%, right? So I dragged more of the video. Previously, it was just like here. We saw the beginning of the tunnel, then walking in the tunnel. Not very interesting. So I dragged out the video all the way out here to see that, yes, there's a railway track. We are approaching a tunnel. Then we are heading into the tunnel. And this was sped up 150%. Yeah. In case you're wondering why is this part disabled, Final Cut Pro has this very nice feature where it tells us which frames are being which section of video is being used by the parent. So when this part is highlighted and this part is disabled, it means that the previous previous video was only using up to this section of the video, not this section. And that's why when we edit the video, we only care about this visible part. This part will not be visible. We don't care about it. Yeah. I did the same effect here. I also did a speed up, but instead of showing more of the initial hike, I showed more of the ending part. So the original video was that we ended in somewhere around here, but I dragged out the end and then I extended the video all the way, to outside the tunnel, and I sped up this thing by 50%. So that's why the speed is 150%. And overall, it was a nice transition. It's definitely better than just showing a dark tunnel all the time. It's a nice way to cut between the tunnel entrance and the tunnel exit. We also increased the ending sequence. This sequence doesn't have any speed up; it's 100%. But I kind of dragged it on because I realized that our music, well, our video was a bit too short. Remember, we targeted 1.5 minutes, 90 seconds, because that's the maximum duration of copyrighted music we can use on Instagram Reels. Well, what after adding everything up, I just I physically added every single clip that we had into the timeline. And after speeding up 50%, I realized that we only got, 1 minute 20 seconds of video. So that's why I just dragged it a bit longer. So this clip was a bit longer than necessary. It was eight seconds, but it's okay because it's a closing shot, so we can afford to have more time. And because we can afford to have more time, we can now afford to slow down the animation. So I drag these clips. These are the sections where we change the orientation. So if you remember what we did in the last video, here. Okay, we have these keyframes where we change the panning. So we were initially in pointing front towards Alfie, then we pan to the left, then we pan okay, we stayed at the left, then we pan all the way to the right, we stayed at right, then we pan back to Alfie, right? So this is the animation that we're doing. So because we had longer time in this video, we were able to space out the animation. Um, yeah, something interesting that you might have noticed is that we have this little, you see this little purple link. So somehow it knows that this title is linked to this video. Okay, I'm still trying to figure out how to use this link, but anyway, I extended the title sequence. So title sequence is now a full 8 seconds instead of just 5 seconds. Yeah. Um, I had some issues with the animation. So the animation is supposed, for the title, is supposed to come up and then expand vertically, right? I disable it for the first title sequence. Because I mean to cut down time, I'm going to use the first frame as the thumbnail for this video. So as I'm uploading to YouTube, uh, to TikTok and to RedNote, they will default the first frame of the video as the thumbnail. So that's why I chose to have the title showing on the first frame instead of doing the animation. Right. Then notice that I also disabled the ending animation. So if you go into the settings for this uh video, this title, I the built-in is disabled, build-out is also disabled. Yeah, there was a very weird transition during the build-out. It was trying to vanish the title, but it was vanishing in a very incomplete kind of way. It was something jarring. There was something in between. So I didn't like it. I took out the built-in and built-out. Yeah. There. Let's see other things that I did. Yeah, so I think that's basically it. I mean, if I had a chance to um, redo the coloring, redo the color adjustments, I would select a clip, then I will do this go into the color mode here, color inspector, and then I'll do an enhanced light and color. That might be good, in saturating the video a bit more, so that the colors look more vivid, and the greens will look more green, and maybe the browns will look less muddy. Yeah, but yeah, maybe for today we'll just keep this as a nature kind of look. So we don't do too much processing. We just use the raw video, and this is the best that we can do. Yeah, that's why it's quite uneven. Some places where you see that it's sunny, it looks quite nice, yes. But other places where it's not sunny, then it comes very muddy. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So this is it. This is how we created this video. So in short, the whole workflow that we did was that we used Insta360 Studio. We loaded in the files from SD card. Then we exported them into individual MP4 files, which you see here. We imported them into Final Cut Pro, and then we just drag and drop into the timeline. the only tricky part was that we had to do this split screen thing, right? And to do the split screen, we had to create two views of the same clip. We copy and pasted. We pointed one view to the front by changing the pan settings. Then we did the same thing for the back, changing the pan settings to the back. Then we created a split screen, and that's where we added in the two drop zones, right? The A video and the B video. It was quite a lot of tedious work just to copy and paste everything, but yeah, I did it. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is that I noticed that the audio on the second clip is all empty. So I wanted to reduce the duplication of audio. So that's why for the B clip, I purposely set I dragged the volume, level to nothing, minus infinity, right? And then as we copy over the settings, that's why they all became empty. They all became quiet. But then again, like I said, this clip has got audio, but then this clip, the split screen, also has audio because we drag the A clip into the split screen, right? So there's audio coming from A clip, there's audio coming from split screen inside drop zone 1. I should have disabled this audio here. Yeah, but that's how I did it. Anyway. Um Yeah, and one last thing is that how do we create the final video for uploading to Instagram Reels? Well, I went into my reel. This is under the reel folder. This reel here, right? Make sure you select it. I did a file, um, share, Apple devices 4K. So 4K is the highest resolution that I can see here. So I just use that. Then it will just export this video, right? Um, this icon, once you click next to export the video, this icon will be highlighted, and then you can see that it's showing rendering. So just wait for the rendering to complete, and then you have the 4K vertical video that's ready for uploading to Instagram, to YouTube Shorts, to TikTok, and to RedNote. Yeah, and this is how we created the video for the Maju Forest hike. Stay tuned for the next video. We will probably go back to our marathon training. I'll put the link to the video in the video description. Thank you. Bye.